My boyfriend, 25M, has ADHD diagnosed, but even though his insurance covers it, he doesn't do therapy and doesn't take any medications. He says his medicine is smoking weed. He spends a lot on it, and it wouldn't be my business if he didn't ask me for the money and guilt-trip me by saying he can't function without it. But the thing is, he also doesn't function on it. When he smokes, he just wants to play games and enjoy the high. He can't keep or look for a job because it doesn't give him enough dopamine. He wants big money and thinks his schemes are always about to succeed, and he's going to be rich soon. He can't clean his room. A family member sends him money, so he helps them with something that takes 5 to 7 days out of the month, all online, and even though it's not nearly enough, he thinks it's fine. He has to pay child support, which I've been paying, and likes to eat expensive food. If I don't buy it, he doesn't eat at all, and lives off instant ramen. Everything is on his ADHD. He can't do this or that because it just doesn't give him dopamine, or he's paralyzed, or he's deep into some gaming hyperfixation. So he spends his days playing games on the computer and arranging to hang out with friends to smoke. I know he tries, and that he has the best intentions at heart, but his way of trying is to use me as his alarm clock. He says he's hyperfixed on me and wants me by his side at all times. I can't focus with someone by my side trying to show cool TikToks and demanding love. And on top of that, I've been doing his work just so the family member pays him. I feel so terrible writing this because he says I'm the one who understands him. I've been reading a lot, and I'm trying, but I feel burnt out. I even have to text him so he can call his child because of the out of sight, out of mind thing. His family has been awful to him. I want to protect him and help him, but I'm failing. What can I do to help him? I need a nap after reading all this. Why would you torture yourself with this guy? I didn't make it beyond. He can't clean his room. It's just too exhausting. This is a deadbeat who's not worth investing in. Leave him. You'll suddenly find a lot of free time for yourself that you previously spent worrying about him. He's manipulating and gaslighting. Of course, that is exactly how he wants you to feel. He's a fully fledged selfish asshole who likes to pull a certain card when people become aware he's an asshole. He's a prick. Then when called out on it, he is like, I'm not an asshole. I have ADHD, oh my god. You just don't get how hard it is for me. I don't have a formal diagnosis, but have trauma symptoms that are very much present, like inattentive ADHD. I have lived with crippling mental health, compulsion, and avoidance issues for a decade longer than this clown, and he's taking the piss. You can't set yourself on fire to keep someone else warm. He's using you, and, honestly, you're enabling him. You deserve a lot better. I saw you said he can't even fold clothes. Come on, you know that's not true. My daughter has ADHD and gets terrible decision paralysis, and her executive functioning is dreadful. But she works the strategies. She hates putting her clothes away, but she does it. It takes a while, but it gets done. She takes her medications, and she's in therapy. She's 16, not a grown-up like your boyfriend. She tries really hard not to use ADHD as an excuse. It's the reason she struggles, but not an excuse. He's making absolutely no effort to get real help or use techniques, as though ADHD gives him a free pass. It's an insult to everyone who struggles but pushes forward. He's living his best life, and you're burning out. I'd run extremely fast. I say this as someone who has ADHD and is married to someone who also has ADHD. You are absolutely not overreacting or being insensitive. He's using his neurodivergence as an excuse, and it's bullshit because he's not doing anything to make it better. It's not his fault he has ADHD, but it is his responsibility to manage. He needs therapy. He needs to stop smoking. And he more than likely needs medications. In fact, he's really just torturing himself without them. They can be such an unbelievable game changer. I have a brother who is like your boyfriend, and managing him is a nightmare. He's gotten better with age, and he's married to a saint. But none of us would even blink if she decided she couldn't do it anymore. You are not overreacting. You are dating a child. He chooses not to take responsibility for a single aspect of his life, and is trying to force you into a maternal position. You are paying his child support. Think about that. He can't even be bothered to earn the money to support his child. He can't be bothered to go to the doctor to discuss medication options, so he can support his child. There are like 20 ADHD medications or more these days. Surely one will work for him without massive side effects. You need to walk away from this. Girl, leave him, I'm not kidding. This man is a leech. I've got pretty bad ADHD myself. I feel exhausted all the time, My brain fights me every time I want to do something productive. And no matter how hard I try, I still have bad days where I can't force myself to function. But I find workarounds. I listen to podcasts and videos from other folks with ADHD on how they manage their symptoms, and I do what it takes to get by. ADHD makes my life harder, not impossible. I know it's a spectrum, and everyone has different symptoms and severities, but I'm unmedicated, not in therapy. Never got support when I was young, and was just left to fend for myself. But I'm still getting through grad school. So my sympathies for your boyfriend are drying up like a creek in a drought. You're paying his child support on top of everything else? Are you kidding me? Please consider alternatives to indentured servitude. I have ADHD, and sometimes my room is messy or I leave a good bowl out without medication. I can understand not taking the medicines. They do fuck with your brain a bit. But I'll tell you exactly what's happening with this dude. He got an ADHD diagnosis, got babied by his mom his entire life, because he would forget to do things, then realized that he could use his ADHD as an excuse to forget to do things or not function. Now, he's become a grown man's baby who can't take responsibility for himself, and blames ADHD for all of his dysfunction. And you're not innocent either. No reasonable, grown adult would ever put up with this. You should not have allowed it to get this bad. And you need to work on your priorities if you're capable of letting yourself be treated this way. First of all, thanks to everyone who commented and sent me messages. Even though some were hard to read, I really needed them. It has become very clear that the behaviors I described in my post have nothing to do with him having ADHD, despite what he says to me. I may seem really dense, but years of abuse and trauma can make you quite blind to abuse that is obvious to others. I'll break up with him and focus on being as nice and supportive to myself instead. Again, thank you a lot. You guys probably saved me from months or years of this shite. I have really bad ADHD. Your boyfriend is just trash. He could set an alarm or reminder every day when it's time to call kiddo, for example. My counters get cluttered at times, but I'm perfectly capable of running my own life, paying my own bills, cooking and cleaning, managing my own social life and schedule, fulfilling family obligations, etc. My brain makes things harder sometimes, but not impossible. I hate guys like this who blame neurodivergence for their terrible behavior. If he truly cannot function in the workplace, he should be in therapy or on medication. Not smoking marijuana. If that's his medicine, it's obviously not working. He's using his ADHD as an excuse to work you into the ground. And it sounds like he guilt trips and manipulates you. You don't owe him anything. He is not trying. He's not good at heart. He's lazy and manipulative and a terrible father. Being the victim of a shady family doesn't make him a good guy. Sincerely, from the bottom of my heart, the best thing you could possibly do for Jim is dump him and force him to fend for himself. He will never become more capable as long as he has you there to pick up the slack. You deserve better, op. My partner and I both have ADHD. We are each on different medications for it, and we both hold down great jobs, pay our bills, and keep a clean house. ADHD makes parts of it harder, but there are loads of tools and routines to lean on as an adult. I have time blindness, for example, so I use a lot of alarms and live by a digital calendar. Your boyfriend is a man-child and is manipulating you into letting him live like he's your child. I can't believe you're paying his child support. Some misogynist men are so evil and entitled towards women when it comes to extracting their labor, money, and energy. JFC. If your best friend described all his weaponized incompetence bullshit to you, I bet you'd tell her to run. When someone loves you, they usually try to make your life easier. They don't turn you into help and require you to pay handsomely for the privilege. I'm a guy with ADHD who spent his mid-20s prioritizing getting high to play video games with my friends over cleaning my room, folding my laundry, and being a good boyfriend. So speaking from experience, the absolute best way to help him is to break up. I eventually grew up, and I couldn't have done it without being single. I have ADHD, and this guy is ridiculous. ADHD is not an excuse to not do anything that you don't want to do. It's a diagnosis that helps get you the supports you need to be able to function, such as medications. This guy's attitude and excuses are kind of insulting and offensive to other people with the diagnosis, honestly. And as far as I know, Cannabis is more appropriate for anxiety treatment than ADHD. Some of the things he's saying sound more like an anxiety disorder or possibly even bipolar. His belief that he's going to get rich quick seems a bit manic. It's one thing to have a diagnosis or mental health condition. It's an entirely different thing to refuse to treat it or get support. This guy sounds like he's going nowhere fast, and I think you deserve better.